Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video we are going to start off the series which is mastering technical analysis in cryptocurrency. All right, so you are going to actually pay attention so that you are going to understand this series. Okay, I will make sure that everything is done bit by bit to enhance understanding. Okay, and in today's discussion we are going to look at introduction to TA. We are also going to, under it, we are going to talk about what we call demand and supply, so that you're going to understand how economics affects cryptocurrency market. All right, and also look at the two basic levels which every chart in cryptocurrency actually has. All right, and those two are referred to as support and resistance. So we're going to understand this and we are going to start applying them to make money. So let's go guys. So we are going to first of all start with demand and supply. Okay, and that's why I am here using these very charts, and this is actually trading view charts. All right, so if you want, I can decide to also attach this link in the description to enable you look at them. Okay, so then if you look at this very chart now, you're going to see so many zones of corrections. All right, so but after this video you're going to understand what those zones actually mean. The first thing we talk about now is what we call demand. All right, you should understand that in as much as in real life that demand affects the price of commodities, that is also how it affects the price of cryptocurrencies, okay, of coins, of tokens, and what have you. All right, so you should know that demand talks about interest. Okay, it talks about interest, and you should understand also that demand is very much fundamental to price movement. All right, that without high demand you should be expecting the price of that very asset to decline eventually because of lack of interest. But in as much as there is interest, you should always anticipate hike in price. All right, so this chart here now has several zones of corrections, and when you look here you will see that these zones here, okay, you look at this zone, you look here, these are zones, okay, and these are levels where the market actually incurred lot of demand, and it is because of the demand that then made the price of the market to actually go up. If you look here you will see that demand got high here and then prevented this market from going down further. So this is what I mean. If you just pick, let's say we pick a rectangular bar and we now drop it here to draw something, you just have to move it and then adjust it forward. So this zone here right now depict what? A demand zone. Okay, so don't worry, I'll make sure to also correlate this demand with supply so that you're going to understand better. But just understand with me that the levels in these charts where there are downward corrections and then afterwards we start having very high upward movement. Okay, you start seeing higher lows, higher highs. Okay, then at that zones, at that level is what we refer to as what? As a demand what? Zone. And it is very much important in cryptocurrency market, because if you're unable to spot those zones you are going to miss buying, I mean buying low. Okay, because that is when the price has actually gone so low, and at that very zone now if you buy, there is high tendency that it's not going to break below that zone. All right, that is what demand zone means. Okay, and by now you're conversant with the law of demand, which says the lower the price, the higher the quantity demanded. Okay, what we call the law of demand. Okay, so but you should know that for this law to apply, other things need to be equal. Okay, ceteris paribus, other things need to be what? Equal. So if other things aren't equal, let's assume that there are negative news around this very market. This is Ethereum USD chart I'm using to teach you. So let's assume that there are negative news around this Ethereum. So you should expect the previous demand zone to be what? To be broken. Okay, but in as much as there is no negative news, once it gets to that very point, it will reverse. All right, so that's just about demand. Then you should understand also that the opposite of demand is now supply. Supply talks about sales. Okay, so demand talks about what? Buys. So if that is the case, it means that when the price is high, supply will become high because many persons would want to sell. A typical market psychology, many persons would want to sell. Now that Ethereum is already going to 3,000, okay, so above it, so you can see it here. Okay, Ethereum is already high, okay, which means that many persons would want to sell the Ethereum because they may not actually wait for Ethereum to attain the previous all-time high, ATH. So they would want to sell here, and of course you can see that here there has been lots of price reversals at this point, so many persons would want to sell here. Why? Because of the increased price. Supply will now enter, and when supply becomes higher than demand, what should you expect? You should expect the market to go down because of what? Supply shock. Okay, so these are the two zones you are going to pay attention to. Okay, and you should note also that the higher the supply, the higher the price, and the higher the price, the higher the supply. You should note that. Okay, because many persons want to sell to make their profits and go. They don't want to wait again. That is how supply and demand operates. Okay, so now let's talk about support and resistance. All right, so we have two basic concepts now to talk about, and the first is support and the second is resistance. Okay, now starting with support, you should understand that support is a zone, not just one price. Okay, it can be referred as price range. All right, so price range, I will show you. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that it's that zone or the level that prevents the market from falling down further. Okay, I'm making it very simple. Okay, so now let's assume that the market is dropping and gets to certain points or certain level or certain price range, it will now reverse. Okay, there are two types of reversals. We have the bullish reversals and we have the bearish reversals. Okay, if the market is going down like this, market falls from this point, and now from here now it's now reverse. So you say that what happened here is what? A bullish reversal. But if it is from this level and start coming down here, what happened here is what? A bearish reversal. So we are saying that if this market here now, this is Ethereum USDT chart, and if you look here, you will see that there have been um, zones of reversals or turning points. So we have 1, 2, 3, and this is 4 turning points. So these zones of reversals are the zones that we refer to as what? As a support zones. All right, so just like if you are looking at the floor which you are standing right now, or you just look at the roof, you just understand that the floor is supporting you from falling. Okay, so that is what support does here. It prevents this market from dropping. Okay, it will be falling and gets to a point, it will now start reversing. But you should note that there is a key driver there. Okay, and that key driver is demand, which means that demand level is equal to support level. Why? Because at that zone the price has gone down, in the sense that buyers are now willing to do what? To buy. So which means that at support level, buyers outweigh what? Sellers. That's the point. So the buying pressure increases at support level. That is why the market will now reverse, okay, and then start going up. All right, so now for you to actually draw support levels, there are two things you should note. You should understand the support levels are usually below, not above. Okay, And then you should note that for you to draw a very key support level, there must be 2 to 3 touches. 2 to 3 touches, or let me just say 2 to 3 turning points. Okay, so that the market must have bounced 1, 2, 3. All right, at those levels before we will say, oh wow, this zone is what a support zone. All right, so now look here. Now you see that this, when you look here, you see the market actually reversed here, it's reversed here, it's reversed here. So if you want to actually draw it, just come over here and pick a line, horizontal line. You can use rectangle, you can use what, horizontal ray. Okay, so let's assume I am using this very line. Now I have to just pick the line, come here and then move up and drop it. Okay, so now you can decide to increase its thickness. Okay, either 4 times, you can use any that you want and change the color if you are going to draw multiple support zones, okay, to enhance clarity. So now you will now understand with me that at this point the market reversed, went up, market reversed, went up, market went up. Finally the market now broke below it. Okay, and once that happened, this market now came down to retest this support level. See what happened here. Let me show you guys what happened. So now you can see it here. So this was previously a level of resistance, which I will explain. I will tell you what we call inverse of resistance. Okay, I'll tell you about that. Just follow while I teach. So now you can see that this market now broke below this level, and once it happened, it now retested another support level and then now reclaimed. Okay, this would now tell you that this zone attracted lots of buying momentum. Okay, and that is why the market was able to now sustain the uptrend. All right, so this zone is called support zone, and this is why the market actually broke below this zone, is because when support levels are retested, okay, when they are retested for so many times, all right, they will not become weak. That was why that very break at that point occurred, and once it happened, the markets quickly reclaimed. Okay, and now going up to $3,000, and this is Ethereum SAC. So now if you should back test, if you should go back and back test, you see that you'll be seeing various zones. Okay, support levels exist, you see various zones. If you want to open another chart, you will just go over to your watch list here and open many charts as you like. And once you've opened them, use the same stuff I've taught you and start spotting support levels. Support levels are below. All right, go below, look at where the market actually made several reversals, 2 or 3 reversals or even more, and then you will just rule it there and plan to buy at those levels. All right, so now let's talk about the level of resistance. Okay, just understand that resistance, as the name implies, simply means to halt. Okay, to stop something, trying to impede, hinder something. All right, so in this very context now, we are saying that resistance levels are those levels that price tends to hurt, all right, from going up. All right, so that zones or those levels are what we refer to as resistance what levels, and they are very very important levels which you should know in cryptocurrency markets. Now this is actually Ethereum USD charts again, and if you look here, you will see that we have this place is our resistance. Okay, because the resistance used to be up. All right, just like your roof. It used to be up and then you have support down. So if you want to now draw it, you should also obey the same rule which we said on support, that there must be 2 to 3 turning points. The same thing applies here, so which means this zone here, the price rejected, 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 and then there was actually a kind of a fake out at this point. So this level now is what we refer to as a resistance what level. Okay, so if you want to draw it, you just pick your horizontal line, you can pick rectangular bar or you pick anyone and just draw it. So I used green for it so that you will not confuse it with the support levels. Okay, so and after a while the market now broke above the resistance. Okay, and now since this market has now broken above the resistance, now it implies that this market has now turned the value. Whenever you draw it, you have to go to this side and look at the color of the price. Okay, so the value 2802 has been turned to support. All right, so which means Ethereum now, if it wants to go down, it will first of all come hit this level, and then if it has enough buy interest, it will now continue to make new highs, or else it's going to break below this level and then keep on going down. All right, so this is now the key resistance which has been turned to support. So now you should understand something, that the inverse of resistance, let's say you write I want to show us something. So this is what I mean. This is 1 over r. All right, so this r is resistance, 1 over r is equal to is equal to s. All right, so this s is a support zone. All right, so which means that anytime resistance is broken, it becomes what? Support. Anytime support is now broken, it becomes what? Resistance. And if you look here, you will see that this was once a support level. I mean, it was once a resistance level, but now the market has now broken above it, and we have already turned this very previous resistance now into what? A support. Here now the market was using here before as what? As a resistance level to this level. All right, before it now went and now broke above it and now turned it into what? Into a support level. So this is now resistance to this, and this is a support to this level. So this particular one now is now standing as what? A resistance to this level. These are the things you should understand about this market. So these two areas, any chart you open, use the same very principle I have explained. Anytime you open a chart, what you should be looking for are these two zones. The first one is support zone, the second one is the resistance zone. So now we can say that the level of resistance is also a supply zone. Why is it so? Because at that level the market has made highs. Okay, it has made highs and the price has gone so high, in the sense that sellers will come up and start selling. Now take for instance, Bitcoin rallied to 120 something k. Okay, and of course you should know that anybody who sells at that level is not making a mistake. Okay, so that selling shock, or the supply shock, or the selling pressure, is what that used to bring about reversals from resistance levels. All these things are just due to what we call market what? Psychology. Me and you are the ones that control this market, you're not spirits. All right, so these are the things you should understand as you start opening charts. Remember, this is just our first episode, and you should make sure to always watch each video and then comment appropriately if there are things you want me to add, or if there are things that you are confused about. I'll make sure to reply everyone. So guys, now you have understood supply, you've understood support, you've understood demand, and you have understood supply. All right, so I enjoin us to go back and do a little practice, and I'm waiting for your comments. Okay, now our next discussion, we are going to look at how to define trends. All right, define trends like bullish trends, bearish trends, okay, uptrend, downtrend, and sideways trend, and how to draw valid trend lines, and also use it to make profit. Okay, because everything is tilting towards making profit. That is why you should ensure that you grasp the mastery of analysis. It will help you in the long run. Make sure you share this video, make sure you like and comment as well. Thank you for watching, and do have a nice day.